Hello guys, welcome to today's video. I hope you're doing well. As you can tell from the title, this video is very important to me, very close to my heart, and something that I've been wanting to film for a little while now. And I always knew I was going to make this video, I just didn't know when I was going to be in the space to film it. But here we are today, and I'm sitting down to discuss some pretty dark stuff, fleshing out a lot of the darkest time in my life so far. So I want to preface this video super early on that I will be talking about anxiety and depression in this video and talking about a really dark time. So if that is triggering to you, then please don't watch this video. I will have another video up for you very soon. If you feel like this video might be of benefit to you, or you're just interested in what's been happening in my life, obviously I keep you updated in the vlogs, but I thought this would be a really beautiful, comprehensive video that you can look back on if you need to in the future, or maybe it just might provide some comfort, I guess, to those of you who have gone through similar. So today I'm going to be talking about how I got myself out of the darkest place I've ever been in my life, my tips for getting out of that dark place and getting out of a deep rut. 2022 was my darkest year to date. I have experienced things and seen things and thought things that I never would have imagined I would go through, and that is super scary. And I know that when I was going through all of this and right in the thick of it, it is such an isolating feeling. You feel so alone, and there really isn't a lot that other people can do at that time. Well, I found anyway, there's only a certain level of comfort that others can provide you. When you're in the thick of it, you truly just feel so isolated. And that's the scary thing about depression, is how isolating it does end up making you feel. And I also just want to say early on in this video, if you get anything out of what I'm about to talk about today, please check up on your loved ones, check up on your friends, check up on people that look fine, check up on people that are really bubbly and outgoing, check on people that are shy. This really doesn't discriminate. What I'm going to talk about today can affect anybody. And I think that's what makes it so real, is now that I have experienced it. I finished my psychology degree, I learned all about this stuff, and I just kind of didn't have that real aspect of understanding. I had a lot of empathy, of course, for people who had been through really deep anxiety and depression. There's just a certain level that you can't get unless you've experienced it. And as weird as this sounds, I feel very grateful that I have experienced depression and have come out the other side, for the fact that I feel like I have a whole new understanding and respect and level of empathy for people who have been through similar. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And I truly want to use that to the best of my ability in my future career. Help people who have gone through similar. But basically, for a little bit of context, my darkest period started after I graduated in 2021. So in the middle of 2021, I finished my dual degree, and I'd spent 4.5 years at uni doing a dual degree. And I got to the end and it wasn't what I thought it was. And that was kind of the start of my downward spiral. It was a huge impact on me. Uni kind of was my identity. Obviously, you're studying for 4.5 years. You expect to get out of there, get a job, get into the workforce and start pursuing your passion. And that just wasn't it for me. I spent months applying for hundreds of jobs. Like every single day, Monday to Friday, was spent searching job sites, contacting people, sending my resume through, writing cover letters, emailing companies, all of that stuff. And out of all of those applications, most of them were rejection emails, and it really damaged my confidence, and I just really felt lost. I've never felt so lost in my life. I felt like I'd wasted 4.5 years. I felt like I'd wasted a lot of money. And I look back now and I know that I haven't wasted my money, because especially my psychology degree, I am definitely going to be using that in my future career, and I do have faith that I will get there one day. But it just gave me a lot of knowledge that I can take into any role. But that kind of led to my poor mental health going into 2022. And I think there was a lot of situations and my environment in 2022 that were really not conducive to me feeling good. I was in a relationship that wasn't meant for me. I felt stuck. I felt like I wasn't being positively influenced by some of the people around me. I still had some really negative, nasty friendships. I was using all of my spare energy on my romantic relationship, and it just, nothing in my life seemed to be working, and it was horrible. I had a really toxic relationship with myself too. I was my own worst enemy. Like, it was a constant battle every single day in my head, and that is so draining. Like, if you think about it, just being constantly on having an argument with yourself in your head, that was me 24/7, and it was so tiring. A lot of people probably don't know this about me, especially if they haven't watched the videos that I've talked about it in or whatnot, but a lot of my friends in my personal life, I didn't fully open up to everyone about my mild depression and my anxiety. One, because it was really scary, but two, I really didn't know what was going on at the time. I do remember a specific moment that kind of stuck with me, and that feeling probably will never go away. But I remember going to my GP to get like a review for my psychology sessions, and you have to do a bunch of like indicator tests, and I did them, and we talked about how I was feeling, and he has like set questions that he has to ask, and he wrote up my report for my psychologist. And I remember the goal for my treatment was to prevent suicide. That kind of just all hit home to me and kind of made it a lot more real. It wasn't just something that was in my head. It wasn't just something that I thought I was making up. This was the real deal, and me being mentally not okay. And that feeling will probably stick with me for the rest of my life, because I mention it and I still get choked up, because it just really was when everything just kind of fell to the ground, and I just really realized how serious this was. I have a really supportive family, I will say that. I also feel like if you are in a relationship that doesn't positively influence your mental well-being, it is not a safe space for you. And I think for so long I was trying to make my relationship a safe place, and it just wasn't. It wasn't somewhere that I could let down my walls and could feel like myself. I was made to feel crazier for how I felt, which just made the problem worse, and which is probably why it got extended to such a long amount of time feeling that way, because I was seeing my psychologist at this point for all of 2022, and I was accessing the support services that I needed. But when your significant other is just not there emotionally, and doesn't really have that understanding of what you're going through, and I guess isn't supportive of that in some ways, it's really damaging. I feel like if I could say anything to my younger self, it would be to have the confidence to get out of situations that don't serve you. That's kind of my only regret in this situation. But anyway, these are things that have helped me and really have impacted how I've come out of the dark side. I also want to note that progress is not linear, and it's totally okay to not be okay. And if there's people in your life that make you feel like there's something wrong with you or whatever, you need to find a better support systems, and there's so many places that you can go and receive help. I will also put some in the description in case you are interested, or if someone who stumbles across this video needs help, I'll try and find as many links and put them down there for you. The first one is the biggest one, and it is psychological help. A psychologist, a therapist, a counselor, whatever you end up deciding is right for you. I have a psychologist who I've seen since 2017, I think. That's when I first found out that I had anxiety, when I was 18. So I've gone to her every 2 years kind of thing when I've had a big life event that's kind of flared up my mental health, and at the moment I'm kind of just like continually seeing her because we're working on so many things. If you're struggling, if you need help, if you need someone to talk to, there are people out there that can help you. If you are in Australia, you can get Medicare rebated psychology sessions, which is what I did. It just like helps take some of the cost for the psychology sessions because they are quite expensive. But this was honestly my number one tool to healing from my dark past. I would recommend searching psychologists and having a read about them and seeing what their specialties are and what they're interested in, and just see if there's any that stand out to you and that might align with you, because it does take time to find a psychologist that works well with you. I went to a few that just like were not my approach. Like they just, I don't know, they didn't really speak on my level, and when I found the psychologist that I have now, I am just so grateful for my psychologist and for finding someone that works really well for me. My psychologist uses acceptance and commitment therapy. So there's different type of approaches that they might use, but this one has definitely resonated a lot with me, especially for my anxiety. And obviously the premise of it is accepting that these are emotions in the human body and learning to sit with them and be okay with them, and then implementing strategies that help you manage those emotions. Secondly, leave toxic environments, relationships, situations. There are situations in your life that aren't serving you, you need to leave, because all of the miraculous change, I feel like I've done such a 180 in my life in the past couple of months, and all of that happened when I truly cleared myself of toxic friends, toxic relationships, things that weren't serving me. Once they were all gone, I had a safe place where I could heal, develop and grow, and that is where the magic happened. I don't have time for surface level friendships, and I've had a few people come in and out of my life that have really not served me. They don't put in the same energy that you put in, they don't value the same things. And I think it's also important too to note that, like, you grow at different rates to everyone. You may grow at a different rate to your partner or your best friend or whatever, and that's totally okay. That is, especially in your 20s, that's what happens. Everyone's doing their own thing, going down different paths. Have faith that you will find those people, because I have found some beautiful gems in my life, and my friendship circle right now is the purest and the most energizing it's ever been. I'm also incredibly close with my family. I think that that is a really lucky thing too. They've been here on all of my bad days. They've picked me up on all of my bad days. I don't know how I would have gotten through all of this without them being here. So that is also a big blessing for me. I think also you need to remember some people won't be in your life forever, even though you think they might. And as you get older, I think you learn to accept that people come and go. It is always hard when people leave your life. That's life. And again, you just need to learn to accept that you go through different seasons. Everything truly does happen for a reason. Thirdly, nourishing your body. What you put into your body makes a huge difference to your mental health. And this is one that I've kind of like fluctuated in and out of. Eating whole foods, finding foods that make me feel good. And when you're not eating like crap, you stop feeling like crap and you have the energy to go and help yourself. It does play such a big part in your mental well-being. Food is fuel. And I think working on my relationship with food has been a constant theme for years for me. And I have my days, but I'm finally in a place where I have a really good relationship with food and eating. And again, there's some people in your life that will come in and will test that. And I really struggled. I had a few friends that really weren't a good, what would I say, like positive body image influence to my life. And it actually did quite a lot of damage, not gonna lie. Kind of tying in with that, water intake. I think water is just good for everything. Like if you are hydrated, there are so many benefits. But truly, like, go and nourish yourself. While you're watching this, go and have a massive glass of water, please. If you do anything for yourself, go and do that. I have like a massive 2-litre Frank Green water bottle, and it may look stupid, but I'm a hydrated queen. Stay hydrated, kids. That's all I have to say. Next, we have movement, which has been a massive part of my mental health. I've said it a few times, but I go to the gym, obviously to keep myself healthy, but also to give my mental health a workout. It is another one of the biggest tools for my mental well-being. And it's like a bit of meditation for me. Like I put my earphones in, I go into my zone, and I just like have time to myself, to focus on myself. It's really, really empowering, and I love how positive it's been for me. But find a movement that makes you feel good, because I know that weights isn't for everyone, or like HIIT cardio classes isn't for everyone. And also accept, especially as women, that your body needs different things at different times. I know when I was kind of in the thick of all of this and I was really stressed, my body was so tired and fatigued that I couldn't do HIIT classes. I couldn't do cardio classes. So my cardio fitness did go down for a little bit, but that's what my body needed at the time. It needed more Pilates, it needed more yoga, it needed more slower movements, more walks to be able to heal itself enough to allow me to go and do HIIT classes every now and then. I'm still not like a HIIT class gal, because I know my body is naturally a lot more stressed and my cortisol levels are pretty high. Extra stress on my body just doesn't really do much for me. But yeah, Pilates is a really good one because it's super low stress on your body. Journaling is definitely a huge tool for anybody and everybody. I am one of those people that's like, everyone should have a journal because there's so many different ways you can use it. I'm such a huge journal advocate. It has helped me in the last 18 months more than so many other things that I've tried. And I think it's important to know that there's no right or wrong way to have a journal. You know, there's obviously very classic forms of journaling where you're writing like a letter or whatever. You can do the whole Dear Diary thing if that's what works for you, but there's so many different forms of writing and unpacking your thoughts and emotions and events, and it's just really useful. And it's also really useful to keep track of things to be able to then take to your psychologist or your therapist so that they get a bit of an insight into more of you. But it's so lovely that you can have a space where you're not going to be judged. You can literally say and write whatever you're feeling and no one's going to judge you for anything. Every day I do a brain dump, I do gratitude, and I do my affirmations, and that has been a huge help in the last couple of months of my journey to really switch around my thinking, because I got myself into a really dark hole where I was just such a negative thinker. And we do have a negativity bias. I think that's something that you need to remember. I always like the picture of like a brain and it's all like scrambled thoughts all tangled into each other, and that's kind of how our brains are, right? But journaling and going and seeing a psychologist and all of those things help straighten out all of those scrambles. Back is so sore in this position, I'm so sorry. Posture sitting on my bed sucks. Just give me a moment. But yeah, we have a negativity bias, so our thoughts are going to often lead us into negative pathways, but you need to train your brain to think more positively. And it's true, what fires wires. So if you're thinking positive thoughts, if you're practicing gratitude, if you're opening yourself up to all these things that you're grateful for, you are going to feel those positive things and they're going to come to you a lot quicker, and your positive thinking will take over. This one I think is going to be pretty obvious to a lot of you, but spend more time offline. I think one of the most toxic things in today's society is social media, and I think that's, you know, a bit hypocritical from someone who does social media as a job, but you know what I mean. I am so grateful for social media and there's so many things that it's good for, but I really do think that it has had such a horrible influence on humans' mental health. And if you think about it, 50 years ago, when social media and technology wasn't as much of a thing, there was different mental health challenges, but you know, when you had beef with someone, it didn't come home with you. You know, your home was very much a safe place from all of that external stuff. And I think that's something that I've struggled with the most, is being online. I have been online this whole time. I've been vlogging. This is one of the things that I love to do the most, but social media can be a really hard place when you're going through a rough time. And for me, going online and seeing everyone's highlight reels was really detrimental to how I felt, and I would go into constant spirals by being offline. Please remember that everyone's Instagrams and social media is a highlight reel. There's not many people out there posting when they're in the pits, when they're, you know, crying and sobbing. I do try to share a little bit of that because I want to add a realness and a more genuine feeling, I guess, to my social media. So if you do scroll my social media, you'll find stuff that's very raw and kind of shows what I'm going through. But at the same time, you don't want to be online when you're sitting having a pity party for yourself. So when I've been really upset and in my really, really dark days, obviously that is when I take time off social media, and I'm trying to incorporate more breaks and change my relationship with social media to be a lot healthier, because I can still get caught in downward spirals from just going through everyone's stories, and it's so easy to get caught up doing that. It's like TikTok. I don't actually have TikTok. I don't know if that's a shock to you guys, but I refuse to download it, and I'm very proud of myself that I haven't, because I just don't want to get into that. Who knows, maybe I will one day. Be more intentional with your time and spend more time living, spend more time doing life stuff, read books, painting, going outside and living your actual life. Find an outlet or a new skill. This is another biggie for me, and as most of you would probably know, that was painting for me. I kind of picked that back up, and that really improved my mental state. But it was so relaxing, and in my hardest moments, I remember so many days that I felt really, really low, and I would go, okay, I have the ability to clear my schedule today. I am just going to sit back and have a painting day. And I pretty much painted all day, and it was so therapeutic for me. But yeah, having a new hobby or something to focus your energy on is really important, and actually it makes such a big difference. Whatever that is, if it's a creative outlet, find something that works for you. Even like I know some people take up running if they've got like a physical skill to be working on. And I think my naturopath and my psychologist said the same thing, but having that physical outlet is also so important, like something you're actually doing. So like painting, it's a movement, or running, you're being physical. And it also helps you, I guess, to get in touch with yourself and learn more about yourself. And my last big tip is to spend time alone. And this kind of comes at the end of your healing journey, because I know being alone sometimes wasn't the best thing for me when I was really struggling. Saying that you do need to be alone sometimes, and you do need to learn the difference, I guess, when you need to have your time to be by yourself and process things on your own. But also most of the time it's really important that you've got those positive influences around you that are checking up on you and making sure that you're okay. But it's so empowering once you've gone through all of that to learn to enjoy your own company and to get back in touch with yourself. I have started going on solo dates, which has been such a good thing for me this year. But making an effort to get back into enjoying my own company. And I've actually surprised myself, I think. Like, I've had a few times where I've spent like the whole morning on my own. I'm still working up to like some bigger day trips and I guess spending the whole day by myself, but I've actually really surprised myself. And some of them, I'm going to be honest, haven't been comfortable. Like, there's been multiple times where I've been like, oh, it would be so much easier just to call up friends and go and hang out with someone right now. But I think you need to balance both. And especially as I go further into this year and into my healing journey, I need to prioritize being alone, like even into future relationships and all of that stuff. I think coming back to me is something that is so empowering and really helps me show up as my best self. Because at the end of the day, you are your own best friend. You will always have you. So look after yourself, treat yourself, and get to know yourself, because you're always going to be with you. It's the only relationship that you will have until you die. And I also just wanted to mention at the end here something that my naturopath said when I was in the thick of it all, that just really helped me. More of a tool. Put on things that are familiar. Music, TV shows, movies, things that are really predictable for your brain. And she did explain it a whole lot better than I can. But yeah, basically the familiar I suck at saying this. You know how you have those words that you just really can't say? Familiarity. 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 Is that it? Anyway, things that are familiar. Your brain doesn't have to, I guess, process new things or kind of like be shocked at what's about to happen. So for me, that was like Friends. I would always put on Friends when I was really, really sad. Obviously it's like a happy, upbeat show that makes you feel good, but also too, I wasn't going to go and start a new drama series, because that wouldn't have been as beneficial to my brain as having Friends on was. Like, I've watched Friends like 15 times, and it is just like, you know, you hear them, even just like hearing it in the background. Like, I used to play it as I went to sleep when I was feeling really rough, and that was so helpful for me. Hello guys, this is me in the future, but I am editing this video and realized that I left off a section that I wanted to talk about. But another big tool in this whole journey was my naturopath. I felt so foreign and confused in my own body. I had poor self-confidence, a really bad relationship with food. I tried everything. I also had like no libido. Like, I was just constantly tired and drained, and the thought of anything sexual was like, I felt so unlike myself. Anyway, I ended up going to a naturopath, and she was massive in my transformation in like 6 months. Just like rewiring my body almost, that's how it felt. and sorting out all of the things that I was deficit in and getting my body back to a really good state. My body essentially didn't know how to relax. I was like stuck in fight or flight mode, which is obviously from the anxiety and the depression. I got my hormone levels sorted out, iron, vitamin D, probiotics for my gut. Like, we did so much stuff and we're still working on it, but I just honestly like am so grateful that I decided to go to a naturopath. And I know it's not for everyone, but she's also my acupuncturist, so we do a lot of like calming of the nervous system, and I feel like that was really good to do with all of the other stuff that I was doing. A naturopath honestly has done wonders for me alongside acupuncture. It just is a really good tool that I found really beneficial, and I thought I would put out there and quickly include while I'm editing this. But anyway, my camera battery's dying. Gotta go. But that is all of the tips I have to share with you guys today. And I hope this video was helpful for someone. I obviously did it for you guys because since sharing my own journey, I have had a lot of you reach out saying you've been through similar journeys or are on a similar journey right now. And maybe to come you might be experiencing similar things. So I do hope you find comfort in this video and can take some of this advice. But yeah, I just want to give you all a big hug and thank you guys for the support. Like, you guys have literally stuck by me through my darkest hours, whether you've known it or not. Can't thank you guys enough for your support and your love and your kindness. And I love our online community here. Like, I definitely don't say it enough, but you guys are just like one of my biggest blessings. I write about you in my journal, like, you know. But yeah, you guys are amazing. I will never be able to repay you for all that you've done for me. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye guys.